Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Abhinav and this is a video about the basics of gamification. Now, the reason I'm shooting this small video is in preparation for a longer talk that I'm going to be doing end of this month with Hello Meets. If you're interested, you can check that out here. The basic idea of gamification is to introduce game-like elements within your product to improve engagement and to reward users for doing things that you want them to do. Gamification can be a tricky subject because, of course, there's a lot you want users to do on the app, but you can't just gamify everything because if it's not constructed well, people are not going to respond well to it. One of the basic principles of gamification that you can think about and can be a sort of stepping stone to get started is what gets measured gets managed. To give you some more examples of where this is used, let's talk about Facebook. It shows you the number of likes on a photo publicly. Now, if this number wasn't shown, you probably wouldn't think about the number of likes. But just by showing it, you now start managing it. You start thinking about photos in terms of likes. I wouldn't call this pure gamification, but this is one of the pillars of gamification. The more they can measure it, the more likely it is that they will manage it. It's not a guarantee that they will manage it. To give you an example, let's look at Snapchat, right? Snapchat shows you streaks. And these streaks are the continuous number of days that you've been chatting with a friend, that you've sent photos back and forth. Let's say Messenger added this or WhatsApp added this, the continuous number of days you're sending it back and forth. You're less likely to respond to it. With Snapchat, the way it was built in, the way the mechanics of the app are to send quick back and forth messages, this makes sense. Might not make sense for WhatsApp or Messenger. To give you another example, let's talk about Fitbit. So Fitbit's companion app tracks the number of steps you've taken, the calories you've burned, and more details throughout the day. Now that this is getting measured, you can see this across history. You can see last week, you can see last month, you can see lifetime. Now that it's measured, you probably start managing it. Number two is the idea of variable reward. Now, the idea of variable reward is that when I do certain actions, I get rewarded on these based on some element of luck or chance. And this is likely to get me to come back. Now, to give you an example of this, let's look at Taze, right? Taze has these sort of scratch cards that you get when you make a transaction. You don't know what you're going to win in these scratch cards. It could be nothing. It could be some small amount of money. It could be a different amount of money each time. But this is an idea of a variable reward. So now that you get this once, you are likely to do that action again because you want to know what that reward is. That's one example. Another example is when you open Instagram, the first thing that your eye goes to is the heart icon at the bottom, right? Because you see some number of follows, comments, and likes. And these change every single time that you open the app. Not just that, but feeds in general are designed to be variable reward. As you're scrolling, you have no idea about what you're going to find. It could be something really interesting. It could be a video that engages you. It could be something from your friends. And this variable reward is usually why we sort of keep scrolling through the feed. And this is also why interactions like pull to refresh are designed, because it's like you're pulling something at the lotto, right? It's a gamble you're taking. You pull to refresh, you wait, and you're like, okay, this is what shows up. Let me go through it now. So that's the second concept of variable reward. The third idea of gamification is about motivation and giving users the feeling of mastery. Now, what this usually means is positive reinforcement when they do these actions, and over time, as these actions add up, giving you the feeling of progress, of mastery of the thing that you have done so many different times. So to give you an example, every time you check in into Foursquare or check in into Swarm by Foursquare, you get confetti, right? Or you get some sort of animations that go around that sort of say, wow, you just did this. And that's positive motivation. And micro interactions and animations are typically used to convey this. Or let's say you just became the mayor of a particular place, you get an animation. So another example is some platforms create checklists where they say that do this action, like number one, do this action, and then exclamation that says here it's done. The second part of this is stored value. So as you keep doing this, do these things get accrued onto your profile such that you have stored value? And stored value is usually the thing that gets people to stick to your platform. So when it comes to Twitter, for example, I might make my first tweet. Twitter might say, great, you just made your first tweet. But the store value is, as I make more of these tweets, do I get followers? And are these followers engaging with me? And if that is the case, I'm way more likely to stick to Twitter. In the example of Foursquare, the more check-ins I do, the more sort of badges that I get. And these are like milestone badges. And these badges are a way to show progress. Now, if I've checked into 114 coffee shops, that's probably a big deal to me if I've done it so many times. Foursquare shows that progress, and it publicly shows this so that anybody who sees this on your profile who is also sort of interested in measuring comes here and they see that this is what you stand for. So over time, stored value increases because your profile looks better and starts feeling better. So that's about it for this video. This is in no way a comprehensive basics of gamification 101, but just some ideas to get you thinking about what gamification is, and if ever you decide to use it in your apps, what direction should you think? Two things I have to say now are, one, if you want to see more examples of gamification, go to uisources.com/pattern/gamification. I have a link in the description, and you can see more examples of what are the different types of gamification that apps do. Secondly, I'm going to be doing a session about gamification with Hello Meets end of this month. If you're interested in that, there's also a link there. I want to hear from you in the comments. What are some types of gamification that you've seen that you think are super effective? Drop that down in the comments. Let's discuss. And thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, and hit that like button.
Rolling, 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 got me stargazing.